Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we have heard all the threats from Trump over Twitter regarding North Korea, calling Kim Jong-un Rocket Man. We've seen the tweets about, for example, just heard Foreign Minister of North Korea speak at UN. If he echoes thoughts of Little Rocket Man, they won't be around much longer. We've also heard him talk about, annihilation, and of course, North Korea has issued their own statements, including saying that Trump declared war. And as this Zero Hedge article says, having raged at President Trump's suicide mission on Saturday, North Korea's Foreign Minister Ri Yong Ho called for an impromptu press conference this morning following President Trump's extended travel ban, in which the diplomat said that Trump's recent tweet that DPRK's leadership would not be around much longer amounted to a declaration of war, and added that North Korea has every right to take countermeasures against the United States, including to shoot down American jets outside the DPRK's airspace as part of its right to self-defense under the United Nations Charter. In quotes, the UN Charter acknowledges member states' right of self-defense, Ri said outside a hotel near the UN headquarters on Monday, as the United States has declared a war. Even though its strategic bombers don't cross our border, we will come to own all rights to respond for self-defense, including shooting down its planes at any time. The whole world should clearly remember it was the U.S. who first declared war on our country. And now there's a lot of confusion about this because, of course, the White House has said today that we have not declared war on North Korea. That's absurd. And, a lot of people are, rightly concerned that there can be danger heading our way. And I think there's no doubt that there's a very good chance that there is a nuclear war heading to North Korea. But let's clear the air for a second, folks. Let's not get too excited, because the main problem isn't North Korea. The main problem is China and Russia and the United States and these geopolitical 4D chessboard players. And let me just go into quickly why I don't think that North Korea is that big of a problem. Well, first of all, if you had an army yourself and you were feeding them grass, how loyal would they truly be towards you? Let's not forget that on top of that, there's vast amounts of people within North Korea that are waking up. There's people passing around USB sticks, people escaping and seeing things for themselves. And there's a big movement underground against the North Korean regime of communist, disgusting, leadership that we could only expect from a communist nation and a socialist nation falling into communism. Something that we warn about all the time, because all forms of coercive collectivism beget more collectivism. And also on top of that, let's also remember the amount of Hollywood movies that are passing through North Korea as well. And people, I know it's Hollywood, but people see these movies in North Korea, a lot of them, and they realize, well, hey, this isn't as bad looking as we, thought these big-nosed United States white men were, as so many people in North Korea say is their main image of the American. The fact is, a lot of people are getting access to Hollywood movies, and they're seeing for themselves that a lot of what the regime tells them is nonsense, something that they're brought up to believe so heavily. But more importantly than any of that, folks, is the fact that North Korea, all their missiles, yes, they're shooting over Japan and South Korea, and yes, that's a problem. Obviously, it's a huge risk for South Korea and Japan, but for the United States and Canada, no. For Britain, no. The fact is, when you look at how these missiles are launching off these launch pads, the United States is allowing it to happen because the United States Missile Defense Program allows for them, truly, they do have this power to shut these missiles down on takeoff, which there have been very real signs that they have in the past already in a few of the failed tests. Now, the North Korean regime can also hardly afford to fuel its aircraft. So, it's just unrealistic to believe that North Korea is going to bomb the United States. And if it does happen, I would be seriously questioning why it was allowed to happen. A lot of people think of the Gulf of Tonkin incident or, Pearl Harbor. And, those things do come to mind, and that is a reason to worry. But directly from North Korea, don't look at them as like, we must take them out. Remember, millions and millions of people are living as slaves in North Korea and are desperate to break free from those chains that they've revered for so long, and so many of their family members revere. So many people in North Korea are much like so many people in Vietnam during the Vietnam War in the north by Hanoi, where they knew that they were being enslaved and they wanted to get out of that situation. And the U.S. going in there, well, honestly, it made it a lot worse. Talk to people in the south of Vietnam who will say it themselves. We would have been able to do much better without them. Now, let me get to what I said earlier. I mentioned China and Russia. Now, China has historically sided with North Korea. They fought alongside them in the Korean War, and they have been basically threatening the United States with retaliation over sanctions that have been placed on them and Russia. And on top of that, China has put 150,000 troops on the North Korean border, and they have called out the United States for trying to ramp this whole thing up. Now, while North Korea has ramped it up allegedly as well, according to media outlets, it's hard to really get a full grasp of what's really going on there. It's important to realize that this is a huge geopolitical disaster waiting to happen because, of course, China says they will look the other way if North Korea attacks the United States first. However, on top of that, there is the threat that has been coming out of China that says, hey, look, if you hit North Korea first, then you've got an enemy in us. And Red China, and now technocratic China, has been growing in size and scope as the world order kind of puts China in their grip as China pushes a cashless system, etc., etc. The IMF wants to get into Beijing in the next few years. And there is a huge power shift towards China, which has an insane amount of debt, as does the United States. And then there is, of course, Russia, where there's all this collusion nonsense, the ramp up of war with Russia, which is insane. So many people on the anti-war left are suddenly pro-war when it comes to North Korea and when it comes to Russia. And it's absolutely insane because obviously if the United States got into war with Russia, that would result in a massive calamity that the world has never yet seen. And of course, Russia has put some troops along the northern North Korea border as well. Now, Canada has actually put a bunch of troops along the Russian border under Operation Unifier and is mixing themselves up with their foreign affairs. I mean, the point is, folks, this is none of the United States' business. They have created so many of these problems. Look at it going back into Vietnam, how they armed and funded these rebel groups, these communist nationalist rebel groups that took over the half of the country and caused the Vietnam War. Then fast forward to the Gulf of Tonkin incident. Then look at how the United States had armed and funded the Iraqi Ba'athist Party, which led to Iraq actually having certain weapons of mass destruction before the fib was told many years later. Then, of course, the United States had armed and funded Al-Qaeda as a Mujahideen in the 1970s, late 1970s, under Zbigniew Brzezinski, Jimmy Carter. Reagan had the Taliban in the White House, armed, funded, of course, as well. The Muslim Brotherhood, ISIS, and, basically they have been propping up every enemy that they create and then have that whole problem, reaction, solution, repeat kind of mentality where they create that problem and now we have to go gung-ho off to war and cause all these problems. I want to finish this off quickly by saying keep an eye on the mineral deposits that North Korea is rich with. They are sitting on massive mineral deposits. And if there's any reason for the United States to go to war with North Korea, that may just be it, because it always happens that, countries have a lot of oil, a lot of gold, a lot of diamonds, a lot of these kinds of commodities before they are attacked. Look at Libya, for example. They actually shot down a U.S. plane and, paraded in the streets celebrating it for years and nothing happens to them, but suddenly, right after Gaddafi stops taking fiat and wants gold instead for, their resources, well, he becomes one of the members of the enemy list and the country is decimated into Craterville. Same with Saddam Hussein and many, many, many other leaders. So let's not fall into this trap again. Just because these guys aren't brown, they're yellow, as they might say, it doesn't make a difference. It's still the same narrative over and over and over again. And we keep getting ourselves into these entanglements that cause vast amounts of death and destruction. And this isn't a winnable war. No war is a winnable war. North Korea is only a danger to themselves and those directly around them. That's where the responsibility lies. It's not overseas in the United States of America. It's not overseas in Canada. It's not overseas in Britain. It is in that region. Those at threat have a responsibility to act. And trust me, South Korea, Japan, China, Russia, they all have a better armament than a lot of people would think. They don't need the United States involved. And nuking a place like North Korea. Of course, Trump said not that long ago, fire and fury like the world has never seen before. Well, we can only expect that he's talking about massive nuclear bombs that are above like 6 megatons, because considering Hiroshima and Nagasaki, those were massive, massive bombs. So for it to be greater than the world has ever seen before, you can only imagine what he means by that. And I don't think that he's just saying that. I think that he means it, and I think it's a little bit worrisome. So again, the main concerns are China, Russia, not North Korea. The main concerns are also the United States government continuing to be the policeman of the world and get involved in growing the size and scope of the military-industrial complex, which continues to grow every single day. This is dangerous, folks, and I think people should vehemently oppose all of this. So thanks for watching, everyone. Check the links below, and until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Now to sound like an auctioneer. Thanks for watching, everyone. Check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored by YouTube as they bring in the Anti-Defamation League to flag all of our content as hate speech. Also check our Bitcoin address in the description in the comments, as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And don't forget to check me out at Josh Sigurdson at Steemit.com. That's Steemit.com, the future of social media, where you get paid via cryptocurrency, Steem that is, by the upvote and demand of your post. It's bound to take out the dinosaur social media, so I hope to see you there. But until next time, check out this word from our sponsor.
Are you looking to exchange a large amount of US dollars? Don't overpay with the bank on currency exchange. Think outside the bank. Banks charge unnecessary fees of up to 3%. Truth be told, currency exchange with the bank will cost you hundreds to thousands of dollars. Start saving now. Step 1. Register online. Visit our website and click Get Started. Step 2. Book a transaction. Phone us for a quote and to complete the transaction. We'll need to know which currencies you are converting and how much. Step 3. Transfer of funds. Once you confirm the transaction, we initiate an electronic funds transfer from the account that you choose. Your purchased funds are then transferred back to you in the account that you choose within 1 business day. It's that easy. Start saving hundreds of dollars on currency exchange with CBCE. Sign up online or give us a call today.